Runner Live Tuesday night. We are here with my guest host, filling in for Swiss Army Sean, HRT Rich, and I'm stuttering already. I'm sorry, guys. I'm trying to monitor or move Kelton into my screen over here. Okay, and we have the lovely Kelton Brown joining us. He is a Charlestown native, so one of the hometown guys for me, and I'm so excited to have him. Welcome, Kelton. Thanks for jumping on with us.
Yep. Thank you guys for having me. Glad to be here.
So I actually kind of met you through your dad, who I did business with as an agent years and years ago. And then fast forward to now, you are a trainer. So I remember when you were a little one, following dad when he was shipping into the receiving barn. Yeah. So talk to us about your introduction into just the horse world. We know, or I know you wear many hats, and we'll get into that. But how did it all start?
I actually, everybody in my entire family has stuff to do with horses. My grandfather had a rodeo company and trained racehorses at Shenandoah, Hagerstown, Charlestown, everywhere. Passed it down to my dad. He trains racehorses, rodeos, and everything. So basically, from the time I was born to now, I mean, I didn't really have a choice. I was just born into it, and I rodeo. I have now, like you said, I have a trainer's license. I gallop in the mornings. I started shoeing. Just anything that I can do with horses to try to learn and better myself for everybody else is I try to get knowledge on it.
And you do it all. I mean, I see it's like every day I go to Facebook, I see you doing something new. I think I saw you actually jumping a horse the other day as well.
Yeah, so, I actually jumped a horse. It was 3'6". It was the first time I ever went over jumps, so that was something new too.
That's funny. So, I mean, it sounds like it's the horse that you really enjoy more than just the racing aspect.
Yeah, it's like I enjoy racing. It's my life now, pretty much, from the time I wake up to the time I go to bed. But like I said, outside of racing, I go to rodeos. I ride saddle broncs and rope. I shoe horses as soon as I get done at the racetrack. Like I said, I've been learning to jump on the side on Sundays, which is Charlestown's dark day. I actually go and I gallop timber horses also now. I started doing that, which is a completely different world, kind of a breath of fresh air, getting to gallop across the fields and everything. Yeah. But yeah, it's more so the horse than just horse racing.
Yeah. Did you think you would have ended up trying to ride the bull ring if you would have been able to make weight? It sounds like probably
honestly, would have tried it. When I first started galloping, I was definitely a little bit lighter than I am right now, and I always really enjoyed breezing horses. So I can't rule that out, but I think that's definitely a past thought at this time. I'll just stay on the ground at race night.
Well, I hear you have a pretty good set of hands out there in the morning. So talk to us a little bit about what your mornings look like. I know you're helping Dad. Yeah, how many do you have, or how many are you helping Dad with? What's the morning looking like at Charlestown?
Usually my dad, he keeps somewhere between 10 and 12, and I gallop a majority of them. Andre, he comes and gets on some for us sometimes too, and other people, but I gallop a majority of them. And I only have one right now in training for me. I have two really good owners in New York that sent me a horse, and he's been running fairly well. He runs second and third a lot, and he's just super easy. And I was really glad they gave me a chance with him. And but so I gallop his, I gallop mine. I help here and there cleaning stalls, doing horses up, helping with the training chart, whatever we need to fill in. And then as soon as we get done with ours for the day, I usually have one or so to shoe for us, and then I'll go shoe for other people. That's kind of my new job outside of galloping and training. And so then after I get done shoeing, I go home, and usually we keep 2 or 3 2-year-olds at home that I am starting for other people or for us. So as soon as I get done shoeing, I go home and I break horses. And then by the time we get done that, it's fairly late. So we have, roping arenas at our house. We'll practice, or if it's too late, we're already headed down to feed in the evening. So, I mean, from the time I wake up in the morning to the time I go to bed, it's basically horse related. I don't really get to do too much out of that. Like I said, on Sundays, I wake up and I'll go feed at the racetrack and take care of the horses, and then I go down to Willie Dowling's and gallop timber horses for him. He's been helping me with that. I really enjoy that. And every Saturday night they have the rodeo at Cowtown in Woodstown, New Jersey. Me, my dad, my uncles, we all go up there. I rope with my dad, which is always really cool when you get to win with your own dad. And then I ride saddle broncs too. So, like I said, it's from the time I wake up, 7 days a week, it's horse related. I mean,
So cool.
it's just it's what I enjoy, and hopefully I can stay sound enough to keep doing it as long as I can.
That's right. That's what you can hope for. Rich?
What is a timber horse?
So that's like, point to point races or steeplechase races. They're not really, if it's wet, they'll go to the racetrack, they'll ship them to the racetrack. But for the most part, they get to go for long walks to the open fields, gallop across open fields, up and down hills, through the streams. It's way more relaxing, we'll say, than galloping at the track itself. And it's something I actually just started doing maybe 3 or 4 weeks ago, and I really enjoy it because it's just kind of, like I said, it's kind of a step down from, just going up and making left turns.
Mm-hmm.
But
it's more fun. My husband chimed in there. Andre's here. He said, have no fear. He said, Kevin, your service person is here. They have this thing about not saying each other's name right.
Yeah, no, we can't do
don't
that.
be nervous. We got this. So, Kelton, I'm going to tell on you. He was asking my husband to sit in with me tonight because he knew Andre and he was nervous to jump on.
Yeah, I was a little bit nervous, but I tried to get Andre all week to jump in.
Yeah, you could have jumped in. Now you mentioned that you do roping with your father at the Cowtown Rodeo. It looks like you finished in 6th place in the most recent one. Tell us about that.
Yeah, actually, we 3 weeks. We've had a really good stretch lately. The last 3 weeks, we've won one of them, won third at one, and won 6th at one. Like I said, it's always really cool. I mean, it's always great to win, and no matter what you're doing, everybody loves winning. But when you get to win with your own dad, it's always so much cooler. It's a family thing. Let alone you get to keep all the money in your family, but it's just the whole part that you get to win with your family. And Cowtown, it's been around for a really long time. If you're from the Northeast and you've never been there, it's in kind of western New Jersey, almost to Philadelphia. It's a really cool place, but everybody goes there. My uncles and my aunts, my mom, everybody participates in the rodeos. It's just a whole family ordeal.
So cool.
But yeah, it's
like a real life Yellowstone, I feel like.
Yeah, exactly. A little bit.
How do you get
as you could have in the Northeast.
Right.
How do you get I can't ride a horse by myself as it is anyway, but how do you ride a horse and at the same time do this? I can't ride a horse by myself, and I certainly can't do this with the rope. Doing both at the same time. How?
Rich, I have horses that you can ride. We'll have to get you to West Virginia one day, and you can ride. I
rode one horse. Have you heard the horse story? My horse story?
No.
So I was in Cincinnati. My son, he plays soccer, and we read in the place we can go ride horses. I thought, okay, I'll go ride horses. This is kind of what I do. We went to this farm, and the guy who had horses, he pictures of him, swimming through the Ohio River and all kinds of stuff out there by the Great American Ballpark. So he puts me on the horse, and we're going around inside in the barn. We're supposed to go up on this thing of wood, get him to stop, turn left, all the things you're supposed to get him to do. Well, mine's coming around, the door's open, it decides it wants to go out the door. I'm squeezing it with my legs, I'm pulling on the reins, I'm doing all the things they told me to do. This old man, he doesn't want to listen. He goes out, and there's a pond there, and you mentioned like the hill. So there's a filly up on the hill, and this old horse is checking out the filly. And they bring him back into the barn. So we go back around in the shed again and come back around the door. Except this time he starts picking up speed. He wants to go back out there again because he knows the girl's out there training. This time he comes out and he starts kind of moving towards the gate. And I think this thing is going to jump over the fence, swim through the lake, and go chase this horse down up there. And the only thing I'm thinking of is, okay, when is the right time to jump off? Because I know this is what he's going to do. Fortunately, there was a hand out there that grabbed the rein and stopped this horse maybe 2-3 feet from the fence. Otherwise, I was about to do a jump too, but it wasn't my plan. So that was my only horse ride. And I'm like, you know what? I don't know if I'm going to do this again.
Oh yeah. If you come out here, I have horses that will not run towards any ponds or anything. Dead broke horses. We'll have to get you on one.
At least you started with a bad experience. You know, it can only get better from there.
There.
Can only
Yes,
get easier from there, yes. And I'm pretty sure that the guy there was a little bit of smart ass, put me on it because I was being a little bit of a smart ass. So like, all right, here you go. My revenge. But in any case, that's my horse story. So I can come out there maybe and ride a horse that has maybe more pure thoughts in his mind.
Yes,
but in
I
any
have
way.
some of those, yes.
Yeah.
So anyway, I can't walk and do this. I can't ride a horse as it is. So how do you do? I mean, how do you even do this? What's the form to try to get that down?
Honestly, it
What's the
doesn't
right
really
term
sound
other
like
than
it.
this? Hold on. What's the right term other than how do you do this?
Yeah, you would be swinging your rope. You know, everything is coming this way. You want to rope the right horn, then the left horn, and then you got to wrap, pull the slack out of the rope, wrap it around the saddle horn, and that turns the steer. And then that's what my dad does. And then I rope the feet. I have to come in behind them and rope both of the front or both of the back feet with my rope, and then wrap it around my saddle horn. And then that's when the clock stops. Doesn't really sound like it, but it's kind of just muscle memory. I mean, once you've done it for so long, it kind of comes easier and easier and easier. It's just like riding a bike, but different.
Okay. I can ride a bike.
Okay. I think I want to get Andre out to the farm. You're a farmer.
I would love to have Andre out to the farm.
I want to see him do that. I want to see if he has roping skills.
I would rather take him and put him on a bucking horse.
Don't do that. No.
Now you do that too. What's that like?
That's actually something that I am really new at. I just started it this year. Actually, Clovis Crane, the guy that he trains and he does all the consigners and everything, he's probably the best in the Northeast by far, and he got me started into it. And I've just been kind of a little bit hooked on it since then. And last week was my first check that I've won at a PRCA rodeo, which is like the highest association for rodeos in the United States. So that was pretty cool for me. But that is it's a lot rougher than I thought it would be, which sounds bad, but when you get on so many horses every day and a lot of them don't behave the best, you think you're going to be better. You just think you're automatically going to be good. And it was a bit of a rude awakening the first couple I got on. But last week it's really just a thrill. They're a lot stronger than they look. The best guys, they just make it all look so easy. Like they're basically just sitting on a rocking chair. But it does not feel like that. I can promise.
Well, you see them kind of going with the flow in the rodeos that I've seen. Is the idea to be as limber as you can be and kind of just get into like unison with the movement, so you move with the horse?
Yeah, I mean, it's just like dance. You'd be dancing with them. It's just a different kind of dance. When they go up, your feet have to go up. When they hit the ground, you want your feet to be forward, so you're not getting thrown out the front or the back. But it takes. They tell me, it takes every bit of 100 horses before you even start to feel comfortable. So, it's a long process to learn. If you want to get bucked off 100 times in a row, it's not much fun. But once you figure it out, they say it gets a lot easier.
And how high is the highest one of those horses have gone with you on there?
Oh, man, the horse that I got on Saturday night, just standing in the bucking chute, her withers were every bit as high as the highest rail on the bucking chute. And, there's been a couple that I've got on that, they'll get all 4 feet off the ground pretty darn high. And it's just, you have to be a bit of like a adrenaline junkie, I guess, to want to do any of it. So, but like I said, when a lot of the horses that I gallop outside of our own, people call me to get on because, they might be really strong or they might buck or they might misbehave or whatnot. So, it was just something that I thought maybe I could use. And like I said, I break horses when I get home. I get on 2-year-olds as soon as I get done at the track and shoeing. So I just thought I could take, work talents and maybe make more money with them was my thoughts.
Be a cowboy.
Yeah, exactly.
Now I have a question. Rich asked about, being limber during like bronc riding, but I see a lot of riders like literally lay back.
Yeah,
they're laying their top half almost on the back end of the horse.
Yeah, because like I said, those horses, as easy as the good guys make them, they are strong. Like they're 10 times as strong as any racehorse that I have ever sat on when they put their head down. So I mean, you have to have try to keep your upper body back, and be moving your feet to the position that they have to be, because and you have to be limber in sorts, but you also have to, it's a real mix. You have to be a little bit stiff and a little bit limber. It just depends on what part of the jump you're at.
So cool.
And how many Advil do you need the day after?
Yeah, that's usually the first horse I have to crawl under to shoe on a Monday after, going to the rodeos. It's a little bit rough too, because the swells of the bronc saddles, they'll definitely leave your thighs bruised from, squeezing them, hitting them so hard. So when I pick up a foot to shoe one and I got to put it right in between the bruises, it doesn't really feel that great, but you get used to it after a while.
Mm-hmm.
So what's the ultimate goal, Kelton? I mean, you're dabbling a little bit everywhere. Is there something specific that you're doing between, the timber horses, the race horses, the shoeing, the rodeo? Like, what is it for you that really you feel like in the future you're going to really direct all your energy into?
I definitely would like to get a few more horses in training. And like I said, right now, I don't mind helping my dad because it's really good. He's having such a good year this year. I think he's winning at like 21% this year. He finally got some good owners, and he's definitely one of the smartest people that I know. He's taught me basically everything that I know to do with horses. And now that he's got good owners, he's getting good horses, and it's actually showing. So right now I'm happy, with my few horses shoeing and getting to help him and get him where, he can keep doing that. But ideally I would like to have 4 or 5 horses that I could, have in training for owners and have that. And then when you only have 4 or 5, you still have time where I can still shoe when I get done, because I've gotten where I really enjoy that. And it's such good money when you get good clients. And
It is.
so if I can train a couple and continue to shoe, that would be the the ideal life for me, because then I can still go to my rodeos on the weekends and be a little bit of a weekend warrior, and then keep my regular jobs. And I always like being my own boss because I can kind of make my own schedule. So that's always an important thing to me.
And your dad is one of the kindest people I've ever met on the backside. So I am equally as happy to see him. He's having great success now. And like you said, got some good owners and people backing him. So it's really great to see. And your mom's a part of it too. We're leaving her out.
Oh yeah. I always, I guess I do always leave her out a little bit, but she's in the barn too. It's me, my dad, my mom right now. My dad we'll get all the stalls clean. My dad will tack them up. I'll take them to the racetrack. My mom cools them out and gives them baths. It's just, it's always difficult to work with your family because everybody wants to be in charge, but it works so much better when you guys are all together, because you guys are kind of on the same wavelength. Everybody works together, and it just, everything usually, I'm going to say 95% of our mornings go extremely smooth because everybody knows the plan. And we, if it wasn't for her, there's no way we could train every horse on days we have 12 to go. There's just no way. She does play a huge factor in everything.
Absolutely. We got to give her the credit. And I remember her as well when she was shipping in with your dad. So they have stalls now at Charlestown. So it's just so nice to see just everything set up lovely for you guys. And you're all grown up. And I think Dallas as well. She's your stepsister?
Yeah, we have different fathers, but she
rodeo queen too. I see her starting her rodeo journey as well. So it's just really fun to see. I follow, all of you online, and I love to see it.
Yeah, she still comes. Usually, if we have a few horses in and we got them in close races, she'll come in and she'll help us cool them out and whatnot, get the next ones ready. Like I said, it's just so much easier when you have everybody in your family is horse related, because anytime you need anything, you can always count to call, anybody. Like I said, my uncles and my
got everything he needs. Your daddy has everything he needs now with you. He's got a farrier, an exercise rider, a trainer.
Yeah.
I think he's setting himself up pretty good there.
You're not wrong, but I try not to look at it that way.
No, I'm teasing.
But you're exactly right.
I will say that your dad was one of the first people to send a text when our daughter was, in the hospital a couple weeks ago, and was just so nice and it was not about racing. You know, he was very much focused on your family, and we got you when you get back. So
Absolutely.
I really
Family is
appreciated
always
him. And,
important.
yeah, they're just good people.
So, quick question for you. You said the shoeing is a lot of money, and Julie concurred. So, I guess that means it is a lot of money or good money. I don't know. So, if, say, I didn't want to ride horses because they're not friendly to me, but if I wanted to put shoes on them, how does one become a person who puts shoes on a horse?
So I myself, I grew up on the farm around, we have a 60-acre farm with horses, and so I've always been fairly knowledgeable about the horse's feet itself. I could trim them. My dad taught me to trim. He can shoe also, but when I decided that I wanted to shoe horses, I called my good friend Bobby Leaf in Maryland, who is an extremely good blacksmith down there, and he let me go apprentice with him for a few months. And he was very hands-on teaching me. He's a great teacher, does awesome work, can do any kind of shoes you'd imagine. And he taught me everything that I really needed to know. And he just told me whenever I was ready, just go out on my own, and I would be just fine. But he played a huge part in teaching me. Like I said, I went down there because he lives kind of almost down by Laurel, so that's a little over an hour for me. So I would drive down there when I got done at the racetrack, and he's doing 10 or 15 horses a day, and he would have me do something with every horse. So it was very hands-on where I could learn fast. But he was a great teacher. So
And you
that
know
made
what?
it
We
easy.
need it. We need more farriers. The horse industry, and especially in this area.
Absolutely.
When I moved back, coming from the city
Yeah.
back home after 8 years, to see just the lack of just vets and farriers and dentists. I mean, it's like searching for a needle in a haystack to get somebody who can really come, especially if you have a farm that you
Yeah.
need regular care for. It's hard. So I love to see it. I love it. And it's great pay. You want to talk about that?
Yeah, I mean, there's obviously Charlestown isn't a huge track, but there's a lot of horses, there's a lot of people, and they might be getting more money other places. In Belmont, they're getting over $200 a head to shoe them, but I usually charge people 140 to do all four at the track, and realistically, you can do, even after galloping all morning, you can do 5 or 6 a day and still be done by dinner time if you want to. So, I mean, if you have the clientele, and I've been slowly building them. I don't want to take on too much because, one, you would think you would be fit, but when you're shoeing, you use a whole different set of muscles and you get tired really fast. So I've just been trying to slowly build it up. There's several people at Charlestown that have given me a chance besides my dad, Joe Stair, Anthony Lucas, everybody. They've been really helpful in giving me horses to do, and learning as I go and building my clientele.
So, if you did 10 horses a day at Belmont, you would make $2,000. Is that what you're telling me?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm headed
And
to
there's
the
some
farm.
guys that do.
Can I come out to Maryland and learn?
Listen, even Kelton, even if you eventually, decide you don't want all track clients, you cross the bridge and you go over to the show farm.
That's a
And
whole different world.
You're getting like $100 for just a trim.
Yeah, actually the show barns, if I was to go to one right now and tell them I'll do their horse for $200 all the way around, they'd probably kick me out and laugh at me because they'd say it's not enough and you don't know what you're doing.
Yep. It's insane, but it's well worth the price. We have a comment here from Johnny. He said, God bless you for wanting to shoe horses. I think he meant that is one job that looks like it would be so hard on your back that can't believe someone would want to do it. I agree.
Why would it be hard on your back? Because for all those of us who don't get to see it, the thing I would think would be hard is that you got to get to those hind legs. And I know trying to cut my dog's toenails, completely different story. My dog doesn't want anything to do with that. I can't imagine the horse wants anything to do with that because it's out of its comfort zone. So I got to imagine every now and then they try to do something to kind of get you out of the way.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely a couple that aren't super friendly to do that, whether they like to kick or rear or just won't pick their legs up. But on the back hurting thing, if you're not doing it correctly and you're not taking care of yourself, I try to do some stretches and everything in the mornings before I even do anything because I am taller. I'm over 6 foot. So to have to gallop and bend over when I get done. It does get a little bit hard. But like I said, Bobby, he taught me, to stay limber and, different ways to do it, because for me, especially because I also shoe a few rope horses, and as you know, quarter horses, they're a little bit smaller than the race horses. I have to get down a little bit lower, so it does get a little bit strenuous. Um, but all in all, if you take care of yourself, it's just like any other job. You take care of your body, and it'll take care of you. So, it's
Says the man who goes and tries on to ride bronc horses.
yeah. Well, that's Saturday night. I told myself, I looked down, and I mean, it was so muddy that you stepped in it and you sunk in up dang near to your knees. And I looked down and I told myself, I am not riding home muddy. So we're gonna stay on this week.
Are you gonna do the local rodeos for the summer? Are you gonna come to the fair or what?
So the ones at the fair, my good friend Dylan Murphy, he is actually putting them on this year. I have another buddy that had talked to him, and they're going to try to get bronc riding added this year. And if they do, I will definitely enter, because obviously it's local and it's somewhere I can go close to home.
We're
so everybody
coming.
can watch.
Andre and I will be there if you're coming to the local fair.
We're trying to talk him into it, because as of right now, it's just bull riding and barrel racing, and I definitely retired from riding bulls a long time ago. Not a huge fan of that.
You mean like the bulls you mean so the actual bulls?
Yeah.
So you rode those too. Then now, what's the difference between one of those besides the fact that the bull wants to kill you when you fall off and the horse probably runs away? Outside of that, what's the biggest difference?
So between my two events, in the saddle bronc riding, you actually have a saddle. So it's a lot more like riding a horse. Obviously, the saddle is completely different. If I'd have thought about it, I'd have brought mine with me and I could have put it on the camera, but I don't have it. But like, it's kind of built to try to keep you in if you do things correctly. A bull rope, you're putting your hand in a rope, wrapping it around your hand, and just kind of nodding your head, and you just kind of got to feel them out and go with them try to be ahead of them every step of the way and go with them. But there you got two sets of big horns in front of your face, and it's just it was not my cup of tea. We'll just say that.
I rode bulls before.
Yeah.
And pink Jeeps.
Every one I've ever seen that's mechanical. You can't keep me off of it.
I'm not gonna lie. If I get a wild hair and I want to go to the bar and they have a mechanical bull, there's a good chance I'm probably gonna get on it.
So
I can't make fun of you.
So fun. Matt Anderson says that's a humble young man. He could go on the road roping both ends if he wanted to and have a lot of success. I agree.
That would mean, I could rope the head or the feet. When he says rope both ends, I know a lot of people won't pick up on that when you read it, but nice. That's what that means.
And then Andre's back and he says he'll ride too.
Andre, you can come with me any Saturday and we'll put you on anything. He's
always trying to sign himself up for anarchy. I don't understand what's going on.
Would you be all right with him doing that, Julie? Jumping on one of them horses that are bucking around? Is he got some experience with that?
I mean, honestly,
I put him on my bad ones here at the farm. Like if I say, because we have a farm here, and I have some off track thoroughbreds that are converting to race horses, or we have a bunch of special characters. And
he says he does it already.
The ones that get out of hand, I get pissed off, and then I'm like, I'm too old for this, and I get off, and I'm like, Andre.
Yeah, I mean, Andre's won 2 for us this year, and both of those horses that he got on weren't exactly super friendly. So I mean, I have faith in him.
Listen, all jokes aside, he said Kevin knows.
Kevin does know.
All jokes aside, is he has really good hands. Like he for some reason does get along with kind of like you. He gets called, for the ones others can't handle. We try to stay away from most of them.
He gets on one for us that she gets to be a little bit wild, and she's a little bit smaller, so I like for him to get on her, so I don't feel like I can put my feet down at roller skates, so he helps me out there.
That's funny.
We do have a question from Annan4848. How do exercise riders develop the clock in their head to have a horse work 4 furlongs in 47 3/5 if that's what the trainer wants? From Mike in the Chicago area. Hey, Mike, I'm in Chicago area too, my friend.
So, like I said, I'm a little bit heavier now. I don't really breeze too many anymore. But when I actually went to Walmart, bought a little watch, I would start it at each pole, and I would just slowly develop myself into learning how fast I was going. And then, a few of the older jocks there, if you ask them, they're more than happy to help you. Gerald Almodovar, when he was still riding, he would breeze horses with me, and he helped me a ton. Teaching me how fast we were going. I could ask him exactly how fast he went, and he could tell me every single time. So anytime I got a chance to breeze with any of the jockeys, I always took advantage of it because, like I said, I'm always trying to learn something new every day and try to get better. So anybody that can help me, that's how I learn.
That's
Just
amazing.
ask questions and buy a Walmart watch.
Buy a Walmart watch. So I did see that you were an exercise rider for a horse that was in the Preakness. Is that right?
Yes, Fenwick. He didn't run any good, but my good friend Kevin McCathin had him in the Preakness, and he was at the sale at Timonium at the same time, and he had a bunch of really nice 2-year-olds over there. So he gave me a call and he asked me if I would come down there for the week, and he would pay me to groom him and gallop him and get him ready and take him to the paddock for the Preakness. And obviously, I wasn't going to turn that down, regardless of any kind of money. I would have did it for free just for the opportunity, and that was really cool. That was kind of my first really big taste at a big race for that matter. I've galloped some fairly nice horses in my life. Usually when they ship horses in for the Charlestown Stakes race, for the most part, I usually gallop them because they ship into our barn. I got on Rushy last year or 2 years ago, whenever it was, and David Fawkes when he comes up here, he came up here, I help them out all the time, and it was just like I said, anytime I get an opportunity to get on a horse like that, obviously you can't turn it down.
Can you tell the difference right away?
Oh yeah, you can definitely feel the difference on a horse like one of them. It's just like you would be driving a Cadillac. It's just unbelievable.
Class is class. I mean, it's like
exactly
driving a Ford
right.
Focus and, like you said, a Cadillac. You definitely can feel the difference of what's under you. Lori Barber's here. Hi, Lori. She says Kelton's granddad was a good trainer back in the day. So it runs further than your daddy.
Yep. He actually passed away before I was born, but I mean, we have stacks upon stacks upon stacks of win pictures from the 60s and the 70s, and from Shenandoah, Charlestown, Hagerstown, Hollywood, down everywhere. I mean, he did really well for himself, and he passed it down to my dad, and my dad tries to teach me everything he can. I like to say I'm really open to learning. I'm a little bit hard-headed sometimes, but he tries to teach me as much as he can. I really like to go through all the old stuff, though. We have a bunch of old overnights, programs, win pictures, everything from the 70s. So it's really cool to look a few of the trophies from stakes races he won at Monmouth.
Hey, send me some pics, man. I'd love to share.
I will for sure.
Yeah.
I will for sure, actually.
I'd love to see some of those old overnights.
Yeah, for sure. I'll definitely do that. Like I said, there's the old trophies from some of the stakes races when they were given away, kind of like the chrome plates still. So they're pretty cool to look at. They're all still in really good shape. I'll definitely send you some pictures whenever we get done.
Yeah, I love.
Well, you don't really have any time in the day for taking photos. You get up, you go out to the horses, and then you're with the horses all day, and then you go to bed. I'm probably the only other thing you got in there is a time to eat a little bit and shower. That's about it.
Yep, I try to eat a little bit, shower. I try to fit in like a little 30-minute nap in, so I'm not grumpy with everybody else. But for the most part, that's, like I said, it's wake up, drive to the track, horses, come home, horses on the weekend. Doesn't matter where we go. And actually there was a little span in my life between when I was like 12 and 16 where I didn't really want anything to do with the horses. I just wanted to play baseball, and I got where I was really good at it, and I ended up hurting my shoulder and couldn't play anymore, so it was back to horses. I mean, that was it. But after that happened, that was when it was like the deciding factor that this is.
So you were a pitcher in baseball. So that picture of the guy in red, that was you.
I was a pitcher in baseball.
Are you a lefty or a righty?
I was a righty. I ended up transferring to a private school. They paid for me to go there to play. And then before I even got to play a game in fall ball, I was throwing a bullpen and I hurt my shoulder and never played again. And after that happened, like I said, it was just rodeo and racehorses from there on out.
And horses have always been there, it sounds like.
Actually, before this interview, I was at my uncle's house because we're all neighbors. We all have an arena. We all rope. I was at my uncle's house roping with him, and my little 7-year-old cousin was roping too. He's getting started, so that's always fun for me to get to go out there and help him out too.
That's what it looks like. It looks like you're sitting on the back or front porch, staring out at a farm.
Front porch. That is actually accurate. There's pasture with a horse directly in front of me.
You can show us.
Yeah.
You can flip it. You can show us. Take us on.
How do you that's your.
We're getting dangerous here.
That's all right.
Yeah, hold on.
That's like me riding a horse. Like, there you go. Perfect.
Okay.
Yeah, nice.
There's that. There's the barn horse trailer over there. But
perfect view.
Yeah, if I turn my camera, there'll just be a house right next to mine because I live in the city of Chicago. So
I don't mind the city. Like, I've been to Belmont a few times to gallop up there and hang out with friends, and I can take it for, a couple days at a time, but after that I have to go home and go back to this. I could never live there.
It's a different world for sure. I'm happy to be back in the country myself. Tracy Yoder, forgive me if I said that wrong, says, great interview, Kelton. You're always impressive to watch with your horses. I just want to say that I'm here for all the good horsemen. I love to have not to be a part of it, to do business with, whether it's, for Andre or to meet and talk to here, good quality horsemen, like people who actually love the horse first. And I just feel like your family's been that since I only knew your dad and mom. And it's fun to watch you guys, get a good piece of the pie now. Anything coming up? I'm not sure. Do you guys have anything in yet this week?
I believe we got one in on Friday, and then we actually enter the one that Andre rides, the little filly, I think tomorrow.
Yeah.
Maybe. But they all belong to AR Racing. Like I said, they've given us a few good horses. They're really good people.
Yeah, they're very kind. They've reached out a few times and just said thank you to Andre and checked on
they love Andre.
Yeah, very, very, very nice people.
But yep, there's them two. I think my horse, I want to say his race is maybe the second week of July. We want to run him on the grass, so we're gonna take him to Colonial on opening weekend and run him there.
Andre said Andre Ramjeet Racing.
Andre, yeah, that is right. AR, he that's what he says when he comes out in the silks every time. It's Andre Ramjeet Racing. Which Andre actually did get them their first win, so
that's right. With
he can call him whatever he wants on She's a Raging Cajun.
Yeah, Cajun. Yes. I'd like to have a little mic on him where I could just hear the foolery that comes out of his mouth between the races and the mornings, because he tells me at some of the banter. Rich, you should have heard about the conversations they were having about things that he should scream down to me while I'm on live to try to embarrass him. Yeah.
He ought to do it.
Should dress up like the Hamburglar and come in, but
just
that would be funny.
Background.
Yeah, just kind of.
So our friend Terry usually chimes in. He must not be here today.
Yeah, where is Terry?
So, have you thought about ever going to Golden Gate?
At one point I turned down a job in California, but I was not at Golden Gate. It was at Santa Anita. I've never really put any thought into it. I honestly think I might be a Northeasterner for life.
Mm-hmm.
I love to travel. I love to go other places. I love to see all the tracks. Me and my best friend Owen, who is an assistant for Bill Morey at Belmont now, me and him, we took a summer and we went to Saratoga, Belmont, Colonial, every track you could think of up and down the East Coast. So it was really fun. You get to meet all new people and see everything, and I don't really foresee myself going unless a really, really big opportunity would present itself. But you can never rule anything out. Every once in a while I get a wild hair anymore, but
Well, Terry usually is here at every interview and always asks, would you come to Golden Gate? So Rich had to throw that in there for him.
Yeah, he had to just fill
When
in.
you go to the tracks, do you bet on the horses too?
Yeah, I do.
So as do you handicap, or do you just look at the horses and you know from looking at them which one's going to win?
I mean, I like to think that I handicap. I mean, I'm not great, but I'm definitely not the worst. I like I mean, I do look at them physically, but that is definitely not my only aspect.
Can you tell by looking? So, since you've been around them enough, can you tell by looking at one and the way they walk? Then that one's got like his knee might be a little bit sore, his hind legs might be a little sore.
Yeah, I think eventually your eyes get trained to, pick up on even the smallest things, even when they're not your horses and you really shouldn't be. But I mean, when you're betting, you want to pick up on those things. So, I'll walk in, and especially since I've started shoeing, and I've done this a lot now, the first thing I look at on a horse is their feet, just to see what they look like, what kind of shoes they have on them, and anything like that. And then it just slowly works its way up to the.
And a lot of people don't know that the feet will tell you so much more than what kind of shoes they're wearing. I mean, you could see like from marks, or if they've had bags on them from being soaked. Like you can, the feet will tell people who really want to know a lot more than.
Absolutely. Like I say, you got to start from the ground up.
Okay, so we're not going to let this go that easy. So when I'm at the track and I'm looking at a horse and I'm looking at the feet, what are like maybe 1 or 2, 3 things that I can look at immediately and not really be an expert at it, but recognize maybe something's a little bit off with that horse?
Okay, so one, you can not obviously, but if you look hard enough, you can see if they have glue-ons on. Typically, a horse with glue-ons has maybe not as good of feet, but they might be sound with them. So you can't really say that, but you can at least see them. The other thing I look at a lot is horses that may have had issues before. Usually, one of their feet are a little bit more, longer or sloped because they've been putting more weight on that foot. So it's really easy to look at that and say, okay, well maybe, the track's wet tonight. This horse has had issues before. He might not run good. Just by looking and seeing one foot is maybe a little bit more sloped than the other or longer. And then also, I mean, you can look at them, and especially if you know what you're doing, see if they're shod correctly. Because if they're not shod correctly, like their angles, it should line up with the pastern and everything, where the shoe's set on the foot. Once you get good at that, a horse that's not shod correctly isn't gonna perform at its best regardless. So. I look at that, and then, like you said, you look at the way they walk, whatnot, how good their coat looks. It's just, I look at it the same way every other handicapper looks at it. I just feel like maybe I have a bit of an advantage from getting to see it all the time up close.
For sure. I wouldn't know if the horse's shoes are glued on or not. I'd be thinking, he's got them on. Hey, there you go.
Yeah, like it's easy if they have like the Hanton clips, which are, the clips that go up the side of the foot. You can see them. They just kind of look like white patches on them. And then they have the Sigafu shoes now, which I really like those. They're the glue ones that have it's almost like a web around the foot, so the glue doesn't go on the sole. It just kind of attaches to the hoof wall instead, and then you don't really have any sole pressure compared to people who, direct glue the shoes, or if the glue seeps down or anything, you might make a corn in their foot or create an uneven sole pressure, and then might make them sore. Glue is great in the right hands, and it's terrible in the wrong hands. So
yeah,
but yeah,
that's why very, very few farriers even do both.
Oh, absolutely. Especially at Charlestown, there might be 1 or 2 that can glue and are willing to do it. And like I said, Bobby, he is really good with glue. He can do any kind of glue one you would imagine and be able to teach you. Taught me how to do all of it. I would be more than happy to glue our own horses. I would love to glue our own before I would ever do anybody else's, obviously, which doesn't sound great, but it's true. I wouldn't want to make something else sore. But
well, no, of course not.
But it's also such a big advantage being able to gallop and shoe your own horses, because if I feel something galloping, the first thing I'm going to do is jump off and check his legs and check his feet. And usually if we claim one, the first thing I'll do is pull their shoes off anyway and, let their feet breathe. If they have good enough feet, take their shoes off and then put them on how I want them. I use a lot of, square toe shoes, which a lot of people don't use at Charlestown. It gives them a faster breakover. A lot of people don't like them. I like them. So it's just kind of preference on what you want to use.
Very cool. Well, Rich, we've had 2 great lessons this week. One yesterday on the turf, today on shoes. I feel like we have, possible future career options here. Like really, getting great education.
Yeah, you can get them to build a turf course at Charlestown. That'd be great.
Well, we have the infield. What do you want to do?
Yeah, we'll have a 3/8 of a mile turf course.
Yeah.
Would be a novelty. People would show up for that, right?
I guarantee you they would. We could, I wish at Charlestown they would bring in like the ostrich and the camel races.
Fun.
Because I would love to strap Andre to an ostrich.
You guys, he won the ostrich race at Turf Paradise. I have it on DVD.
You're gonna have to send me that too because I would love to see that. I would even work on the gate crew that night just to help Andre with the ostrich.
Andre, if you're watching this video, walk down here right now and grab me the win photo.
Come on, Andre. I know you're watching.
He's coming. I hear his feet. But yeah, I do have that. He said he wouldn't ride the camels, I think, because he said the fall was too far. And I got win picture and everything. Yeah, well, come down here. Yeah, it's on the TV stand here behind me. And he ride the zebra? I want to say, I can't remember if he rode the zebra, but he won that damn ostrich race. I wish Charlestown would do all the fun things. They used to a long time ago when I was a kid. I remember them doing fundraisers and stuff. Remember the riders would sit out and sign, and they would do they would race, do foot races themselves. Just Sunday racing, the day racing, it was fun and it made it possible. But I wish, so here he comes. I wish badly that they would bring, Kelton, make it happen.
I don't have that kind of control. I would love to, like I said, whether it be ostrich races or camel races, or I even love watching when they race like the wiener dogs and they put them in the gate and let them race. I love watching.
I mean, hey, it was pretty. It was fun enough to watch the jockeys try to run on the track barefoot.
Yeah, especially if they would do it on like the stakes night where they have all the tents and music set up anyway. I think people would love to watch that.
Oh gosh, here you go, guys. Here.
Well, you have to probably put yourself here in the big one so we can see it.
Oh, okay.
There you go.
There you go.
I put it there.
That's
look how quiet of a rider he is. He doesn't even look like.
Look at his feet. Can you believe it? That's the man I married. Look at his smile.
Look at him in the background smiling. He's trying to
so
get the camera.
proud. He's so proud. So this video is actually, get away. Take your proudness and go. The video is hilarious because wasn't there like the girl in front of him like hits the rail? Yeah. I mean, there was like some real accidents going on. So
he just snuck right by him.
Yeah, you guys, I have 2 funny videos that I have to upload from between last night and tonight now. You guys are dead this week. That's funny. Well, that's all I've got tonight. What about you, Rich? Anything else?
That's it for me. I'm afraid I'm going to get myself into things I don't want to get into. I'll be out in the farms in West Virginia on bucking horses, trying to put on shoes, getting kicked, riding other horses that want to chase fillies. So I'm kind of
we'll put you through a whole boot camp.
I'm up for it. I'll come out there and videotape it. What the hell? Put it up on the show. That would be fun.
That would actually be fun.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, if you ever come this way, you come out of Chicago, we'll turn you into a country boy real quick.
I grew up in the Poconos. I know all about being in the country. I just moved out here to help my grandparents. So
okay.
I'm very familiar with fish. I didn't like hunting, to be honest with you. I figured if they can't shoot back, it's not a fair fight. So I didn't want to go into hunting. But fishing and all that kind of stuff, camping, I've done all that as a kid growing up. I used to go fishing every single day as a little boy out in the river, Delaware River. I can fly fish. I can do regular fishing, bass fishing. We'd go swimming. We were a Kid Rock. What's that song that he has out there? That's like a little riff off of the Leonard Skinner song, Sweet Home Alabama. Campfires and fishing and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, so I'm not that much of a city boy. I have a little bit of country in me too.
That's such a pretty area too. They used to have a few rodeos every Saturday up there by the Poconos in Milford and Mount Pocono, and it's such a pretty area up there.
Mm-hmm.
Well, cool. Well, hopefully we can get you down, Rich, and we can do some fun things. I feel like we would get quality, pure entertainment videos for HRT.
Oh, I'm sure it would be hilarious. Like all the practical jokes you can run on me, and I wouldn't even know it.
Yes. And you're with the right crew if you come down here.
Yep.
I promise.
Yep. That sounds like fun to me.
All right. Well, you know what we'll do? We'll make I'm going to be probably coming out that way in August anyhow. So maybe I can come down there. I'll be up in New York and maybe I can make a trip down there for a day. And then
Well, August, at the end of August is the classic, the
That's
25th.
perfect.
And that's actually my birthday. So you should try to come around like the big races.
All
Or
right.
even if you come on a regular night, you know, it's
Yeah,
still
we can do some handicapping.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that'll be fun. I do that every day. That's something I'm actually pretty good at. I've created my own data points too and stuff. So I'm a little bit creative in that respect. All right.
All right, cool.
Christopher D'Souza likes the rocking chair. Why the racing looks like you're riding a horse. All right, folks. That's it for me.
All right. Well, Kelton, thank you so much. And we'll definitely, we'll be in touch in the future here with HRT. And Andre, we'll see you tomorrow morning. And
Absolutely.
Yeah. We'll talk to you next time. Thank you.
Yep.
There we go.
All righty. Well, that was a wonderful guest to have on. He was fun.
Oh, yes, it was indeed fun. And I will definitely have to make a trip out there. We can go out there and I can do some kind of things that would be embarrassing for me, make some funny videos.
It'll be hilarious. It'll be a good time. Okay, what do you got tomorrow?
Tomorrow I have Charles and we're going to do Horseshoe Indianapolis. Hopefully I will make sure that I put the right horses in the right place so that I can get those $900 winners.
Don't take any out.
Well, I'm going to take one out on purpose tomorrow because now Charles and I have an ongoing kind of like skit where I have to take a horse out with Charles. And what I want to do is do it strategically. So like if he has a single in his pick 4, I'm going to take his single out so that it automatically wins, or I could take it out so it loses. So I have a little bit of leverage. So I'm going to try to do that tomorrow. And then on Thursday, we'll do Belmont. And then I will be out next week. So it'll be Terry and Charles for the next 5 days. And then next week will be Julie and Sean. But who do we have tomorrow? I know last night you said you were waiting on some confirmation. Do we get any, or it's going to be a
Am I on next week, or is it Jamie?
Jamie next week.
Jamie next week. I can't speak of such things yet, but by the morning.
Okay.
I don't want to speak too soon.
Well, keep an eye on the social sites down below. Horse Race the number 2 day. Horse Race Today. Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. Even though Sean's enjoying the sun and the sand down somewhere.
We know he's here watching.
Is he?
We know you. We know you can't leave us alone, Sean. We know.
He's probably on his phone watching because he does. I mean, the kid's a whiz on his phone. I send him things. He can do things faster on his phone than I can do with a mouse and a computer. I don't know how that's possible, but he does it. In any case, he'll be back next week with Jamie, and then of course tomorrow he'll let us know who our surprise guest is for Wednesday night.
Yes, and if not, we'll come up with something fun.
All right, sounds good.
We'll do something. All right, guys. Well, that wraps it up. Takes us wire to wire, and I hope we see you all in the winner's circle.
Indeed, the winner's circle.